She had survived boardrooms that didn't want her, cities that didn't claim her, and men who never saw her. But when CEO Kang's cold dismissal came without reason, without mercy, Sandra finally broke. What she didn't know was that his son had been watching her all along, and he was about to burn his entire world down for her. Sandra's heels clicked against the marble floor of Hanseong Tower like a metronome counting down to something she couldn't name. 57 floors of steel and glass, and she'd walked every one of them for 3 years, invisible, indispensable, and utterly alone. She adjusted the stack of files in her arms, her reflection catching in the elevator's mirrored walls. Smooth, dark skin, edges sharp from skipped meals, eyes that had learned to stay neutral even when the room went quiet at her entrance. She'd perfected the art of taking up just enough space to be effective, but never enough to be threatening. The top floor hummed with a different energy. Colder. The kind of cold that came from men who controlled empires from leather chairs and never apologized for anything. CEO Kang Minho sat behind his ebony desk like a king on a throne. 63, silver-haired with eyes that calculated profit margins in the time it took most people to breathe. He didn't look up when Sandra entered. "The Busan contracts, sir," she said, setting the folder precisely 3 inches from the edge of his desk. Exactly how he liked it. He grunted. That was her cue to leave. But across the room, half hidden by the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul, stood his son. Kang Ji-hoon, 29, shouldered the weight of a legacy he never asked for. While his father wore power-like armor, Ji-hoon wore expensive suits like a uniform he couldn't take off. He watched Sandra with eyes that actually saw. A dangerous thing in a place like this. Their gazes met for half a second. She looked away first. She always did. "Ms. Williams." CEO Kang's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "My office. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp." Sandra's stomach dropped, but her face stayed smooth. "Of course, sir." She left, and the elevator descent felt like falling. Ji-hoon stayed at the window, jaw tight, watching her small figure exit the building 57 floors below. He'd been watching her for months, the way she never flinched when his father's associates made their little comments, the way she worked twice as hard for half the acknowledgement. "You're staring again," his father said without looking up. Ji-hoon said nothing. In this family, silence was survival, but tomorrow he knew something was about to shatter. What do you think CEO Kang is about to do? Drop your predictions below. Sometimes the cruelest actions come without warning. The clock on CEO Kang's wall ticked like a countdown. Sandra stood before his desk at precisely 9 a.m., spine straight, hands clasped. She'd worn her best blazer, navy, professional, armor, against whatever this was. Kang didn't offer her a seat. "Your services are no longer required," he said, signing a document without meeting her eyes. "Security will escort you out. You have 20 minutes to clear your desk." The words hit her like a physical blow. "Sir, I don't understand." "There's nothing to understand. You're terminated. Effective immediately." "But why? What did I don't owe you explanations." "Ms. Williams." His voice was ice. "You're dismissed." Sandra's hands trembled. 3 years. Perfect performance reviews. She'd bled for this company, swallowed her pride, smiled through microaggressions, worked holidays while others vacationed with family. "Is it because I'm—" "Don't." He finally looked up and his eyes were empty. "Don't make this about what you think it's about. You're simply not needed anymore." The door behind her opened. Ji-hoon stepped in, briefcase in hand, freezing when he saw her face. "Father, what's—" "Ji-hoon. Good. You'll handle the transition. Ms. Williams was just leaving." Sandra turned. Her eyes met Ji-hoon's, and in that moment, he saw everything. The humiliation, the confusion, the heartbreak of a woman who'd given everything and been discarded like trash. "Sandra," he whispered. She walked past him, head high, vision blurring. By the time she reached her desk, security was already there. Her colleagues averted their eyes. The Korean administrative assistants whispered in corners. She had 20 minutes to pack 3 years into a cardboard box. Her hands shook so badly she dropped a framed photo, her and her mother at her college graduation. The glass cracked. Ji-hoon appeared beside her. "Sandra, please, let me—" "Don't!" Her voice broke. "Just don't. This isn't right. I'll talk to him." "You think I don't know how this works?" She finally looked at him, tears threatening to spill. "I've always known. I just forgot for a moment that I was tolerated, not wanted." She grabbed her box and walked toward the elevator. Ji-hoon watched her leave, something fundamental breaking inside him. He turned and stormed back to his father's office. "Have you ever been discarded by someone you gave everything to? The pain Sandra feels is raw and real. Share your thoughts below." Sandra's apartment was small, tidy, suffocating. She set the box on the kitchen counter and stared at it like it might explode. 3 years in a cardboard box. She should cry. She wanted to cry. But the tears wouldn't come. Just this hollow ache in her chest where her dignity used to be. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother in Atlanta. "How's work, baby?" Sandra turned the phone face down. She'd told her mother she'd made it. That Seoul was hard but worth it. That she was building something. What would she say now? That she'd been thrown away without explanation? That all her resilience, her code switching, her swallowed pride had amounted to nothing? Another buzz. Unknown number. "Sandra, it's Ji-hoon. Please, let me explain." She deleted it. Across the city, Ji-hoon stood in his father's office, fists clenched. "You can't just fire people without cause?" Kang Min-ho poured himself whiskey, unbothered. "I can do whatever I want. It's my company." She was the best assistant you ever had. She was getting comfortable. Comfortable employees become entitled. I'm cutting her loose before she becomes a problem. "A problem?" Ji-hoon's voice rose. "She's a human being. She's an employee, and now she's not." Kang took a sip, savoring it. "This is business, Ji-hoon. If you're going to take over one day, you need to learn that sentiment is weakness. And cruelty is strength?" "Yes?" His father's eyes were steel. "Especially when you're dealing with outsiders." The word hung in the air, ugly and deliberate. Ji-hoon felt sick. "You did this because she's black." "I did this because I can." Kang leaned back. "And because I saw the way you look at her." "Don't think I'm blind, son. You have a future, a legacy. She doesn't fit into that picture." Ji-hoon's jaw locked. "You're wrong." "Am I?" Kang smiled, cruel. "Then prove it. Go chase after her. Throw away everything I've built for you. See how long that infatuation lasts when you have nothing." Ji-hoon left without another word, but his father's voice followed him. "You'll realize I'm right. You always do." 3 days later, Sandra sat in a cafe in Itaewon, the only place in Seoul where she didn't feel like a spectacle. Her laptop was open, job applications filling the screen, but the words blurred together. "Sandra." She looked up. Ji-hoon stood there disheveled in a way she'd never seen. No suit jacket, ice shirt sleeves rolled, dark circles under his eyes. "How did you find me?" "I've been looking for 3 days." He gestured to the empty chair. "Please, 5 minutes." "I don't owe you anything." "I know, but I owe you everything." His voice cracked. "Please." Against her better judgment, she nodded. He sat, careful, like approaching a wounded animal. What he did, it's unforgivable. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No, nothing I say will, but you deserve to know the truth. He leaned forward. He fired you because of me. Sandra frowned. What? He saw how I looked at you, and he couldn't stand it. Ji-hoon's hands trembled. In his world, people like us don't... We're not supposed to... People like us? Sandra's laugh was bitter. You mean a rich Korean heir and his black secretary? Yeah. I'm aware of how that story goes. It doesn't have to go that way. Doesn't it? She closed her laptop. Ji-hoon, you're sweet. But you live in a different universe. Your father proved that. Then let me prove him wrong. The desperation in his voice stopped her. Let me help you. I have connections. I can make calls. I don't need your pity. It's not pity. He reached across the table, stopping just short of touching her hand. Sandra, for 3 years I watched you. The way you handled impossible people with grace. The way you never broke, even when you should have. You're the strongest person I've ever met. And I... He stopped, swallowing hard. You what? I can't stop thinking about you. The cafe seemed to hold its breath. Sandra should leave. This was dangerous, complicated, impossible. But when she looked into his eyes, she saw something she hadn't seen in years, someone who actually saw her. One coffee, she said finally. You have one coffee to explain yourself. Ji-hoon smiled, and it transformed his entire face. I'll take it. They talked until the cafe closed, then walked the streets of Seoul as night fell around them. My mother died when I was 12, Ji-hoon said, hands in pockets, voice low. Cancer, and my father. He turned to stone after that. Everything became about control. The business, me. He couldn't control her death, so he controlled everything else. Sandra listened, the city lights reflecting in her eyes. I've spent 17 years trying to be the son he wants. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect obedience, but Sandra... He stopped walking, turning to face her. You're the first person who made me want something for myself. You don't even know me. I know you take your coffee black with 1 sugar. I know you hum when you're concentrating. I know you stay late every Tuesday to help the night cleaning staff practice English. His smile was sad. I know you're lonely, like me. Sandra's breath caught. No one had ever paid that much attention. Your turn, he said softly. Tell me something real. She hesitated then. I came to Seoul because I was running from Atlanta, from a life that felt too small. She looked up at the sky, missing stars she couldn't see through the city lights. My mom cleaned houses to put me through college. I was supposed to make her proud, be successful, but every job in the States, I was either invisible or exotic, never just competent. So you came here, where I thought being different might actually be an advantage. She laughed hollow. Joke's on me. It's not a joke. Ji-hoon stepped closer. You're brilliant and brave, and you deserve so much more than what my father gave you. What I deserve and what I get are 2 different things. Not anymore. His voice was fierce. I'm not going to let him... Ji-hoon, stop. Sandra put a hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat race under her palm. You can't save me, that's not how this works. Then what do you want? The question hung between them, loaded with everything they weren't saying. I want... Sandra closed her eyes. I want to matter to someone. Not as a diversity hire, not as a rebellion against your father, just as me. When she opened her eyes, Ji-hoon was staring at her like she'd hung the moon. You matter to me, he whispered. You've mattered for so long. And then he kissed her. It was soft, tentative, terrified, and absolutely everything. When was the last time someone truly saw you? Not your job, your race, your role. Just you? Drop a heart below if you know that feeling. They fell into each other like people who'd been drowning and finally found air. For 2 weeks, they existed in a bubble. Ji-hoon showed her soul through his eyes, hidden gardens in Bukchon, late-night Pojangmasha where soju flowed and strangers became family, rooftop views where the city looked almost kind. Sandra let herself laugh. Really laugh. The kind that came from her belly and shook her shoulders. They sat in his apartment balcony one evening, sharing takeout, shoulders touching. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," Sandra said, stealing a dumpling from his container. Ji-hoon thought for a moment. "I don't want the company. I never did." "Then what do you want?" "I want to teach literature. I want to spend my days with books and students who still think the world can be beautiful." He smiled self-consciously. "Stupid, right?" "It's the least stupid thing I've ever heard." Sandra leaned her head on his shoulder. "You'd be an amazing teacher." "What about you, if you could do anything?" "Write." The word escaped before she could stop it. "I've got notebooks full of stories I've never shown anyone, but that's a pipe dream." "Why?" "Because writers are supposed to be starving and brilliant. I'm just surviving." "Sandra." Ji-hoon turned to face her, cupping her face in his hands. "You're brilliant, and you're allowed to want more than survival." She kissed him then, deep and desperate, trying to communicate everything words couldn't. They made love that night like it was both a beginning and an ending, like they were stealing time from a world that would never let them keep it. Afterwards, wrapped in his sheets, Sandra traced patterns on his chest. "This can't last," she whispered. "Why not?" "Because your father." "Forget my father." "Ji-hoon, you can't just watch me." He pulled her closer. "I'm choosing you, Sandra. Every day. I'm choosing you." She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. But she'd learned long ago that wanting something that didn't make it real. The summons came at 6 a.m. CEO Kang's voice on Ji-hoon's phone was ice. "My office, now, and bring her." Ji-hoon's blood ran cold. "How did you—" "I know everything." 1 hour. The line went dead. Sandra sat up, reading his face. "What happened?" "He knows about us." They arrived at Hansong Tower like condemned prisoners. Kang waited in his office, a file folder open on his desk. Sandra recognized the photos immediately. Her and Ji-hoon at the cafe, walking hand in hand through Bukchon, kissing on his balcony. "Sit," Kang commanded. Neither of them moved. "I said sit." The fury in his voice could shatter glass. They sat. Kang turned to Sandra first, his smile cruel. "Mrs. Williams, how much?" "Excuse me?" "How much to disappear? I'm a reasonable man. Name your price." The insult landed like a slap. "I'm not for sale." "Everyone's for sale." He slid a check across the desk. The number had 6 zeros. "Take it. Leave Seoul. Tonight." "Father," Ji-hoon started. You be silent." Kang's attention swung to his son. "Did you really think I'd let you throw away everything for some—" "Finish that sentence," Ji-hoon said quietly, standing. "I dare you." "For some woman who will never fit into our world," Kang roared. "You think this is love? It's infatuation, rebellion. You're embarrassing yourself in this family." "The only embarrassment here is you." Ji-hoon's voice shook with rage. "Your cruelty, your bigotry, I'm trying to protect you." For the first time, Kang's composure cracked. "She will destroy you. They always do. Your mother—" He stopped, jaw clenching. "Don't you dare," Ji-hoon whispered. "Don't you dare use her to justify this." Sandra stood, grabbing her purse. "I'm leaving." "Sandra, wait!" No, Ji-hoon, he's right. Not about me being for sale, but about me not fitting. Tears streamed down her face. I've been fooling myself. This was never going to work. Don't let him do this. He's not doing anything. I am. She looked at Kang, then back at Ji-hoon. Choose your family, your future. I won't be the reason you lose everything. You are my future. No, I'm just a mistake you'll regret. She turned to Kang. You win. I'm gone. She walked out. Ji-hoon moved to follow, but his father's voice stopped him. Go after her and you're disowned. No company, no money, no family. Is she worth that? Ji-hoon stood frozen, torn between the life he'd always known and the woman he loved. Sandra didn't wait for his answer. She kept walking. 5 days passed like an eternity. Sandra booked a flight back to Atlanta, 1 week from now. She'd packed half her apartment, moving through the motions like a ghost. Her phone stayed silent. She told herself it was better this way. Clean break. No drawn-out goodbye. Ji-hoon had chosen his legacy just like she knew he would. But at night, alone, she let herself cry. Ji-hoon sat in his childhood bedroom surrounded by awards and achievements that meant nothing. His father had gone back to business as usual, acting like Sandra had never existed. But Ji-hoon couldn't. Every morning he woke up and chose her. And every morning he did nothing about it. On the 6th day, he opened his laptop and drafted an email, then deleted it. Drafted another. Deleted that too. Words felt insufficient. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through her contact. His thumb hovered over the call button. What would he even say? That he was sorry? That he'd frozen when it mattered? That he'd let her walk away? He put the phone down, then picked it up again. His mother's voice echoed in his memory, something she'd told him before she died. Ji-hoon, courage isn't not being afraid. It's being terrified and doing it anyway. He stood up, grabbed his keys, and walked out. His father was in the study, reviewing contracts. I'm done, Ji-hoon said. Kang looked up, eyebrow raised. Done with what? This. The company. Your expectations. All of it. His voice was steady. I'm choosing her. You're throwing your life away for a woman you barely know. I'm saving my life. For a woman who actually sees me. Ji-hoon placed his company ID on the desk. I don't want your empire, I never did. And I won't let you make me into you. You walk out that door, you're nothing. No, father. Ji-hoon smiled, sad but certain. I'll finally be myself. He left his father's house and drove straight to Sandra's apartment. Sandra opened the door in sweats and a headscarf, boxes stacked behind her. You're leaving, Ji-hoon said, breathless. Next week, yes. Don't. Ji-hoon? I quit. Today, I walked away from everything. He stepped closer, eyes desperate and free. The company, the money, my father, all of it. Sandra's heart stuttered. You can't. You didn't. I did because you were right. I had to choose. He took her hands. And I choose you. I'll always choose you. But your legacy... My legacy is what I build, not what I inherit. He cupped her face, thumbs wiping away tears she didn't realize were falling. I want to build something with you. Maybe I'll teach. Maybe you'll write. Maybe we'll fail spectacularly. But at least we'll fail together. Your father will never forgive you. I don't need his forgiveness. I need yours. His voice broke. For hesitating, for letting you leave, for not fighting harder that day in his office. Sandra searched his eyes, looking for doubt, for regret. She found only love. You're sure? I have never been more sure of anything. He pulled her close. Sandra Williams, you are not a mistake. You're not a rebellion. You're the first real thing I've ever chosen. And I will spend every day proving that you matter. Not because of what you do or where you're from or what you look like, but because you're you. She kissed him, tasting salt and hope. "Stay," he whispered against her lips. "Stay in Seoul. Stay with me." "Okay," she breathed. "Okay." They stood in her doorway, holding each other like lifelines, as the city hummed around them. 6 months later, Sandra's first book launched on a rainy Tuesday in a small bookstore in Hongdae. It was a collection of stories about belonging, about women who'd crossed oceans looking for home. Ji-hoon sat in the front row, beaming with pride. His father hadn't spoken to him since that day. But Ji-hoon had found a teaching position at a university, and every morning he woke up lighter. After the reading, as they walked home hand in hand, Sandra leaned into him. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Giving everything up?" Ji-hoon stopped, turning to face her under a street lamp, rain falling softly around them. "I didn't give up everything," he said, echoing the moment that had started it all. "I gave up nothing to get everything." He kissed her then, in the rain, right in the city that had tried to keep them apart. And somewhere in that kiss was every apology, every promise, every tomorrow they'd build together. Not in spite of the world that said they couldn't, but because they chose each other anyway. Love doesn't always look like fairy tales, but when two people choose each other against all odds, magic happens. What's your favorite unexpected love story? Share it below. We'd love to hear it.